welcome to the deep dive. So you sent us some pretty interesting material this time. Notes from David DeAngelo Double Your Dating Advanced series. And, well, that's where we're diving in.
Right.
Our mission, basically, is to pull out the key ideas. Stuff on persona, beliefs, social dynamics, and this source's view on personal success.
Yeah, like a fast track to understanding some of the core concepts in there.
Exactly.
And these notes, they really do cover a lot, don't they? From, social masks people wear to how beliefs form, communication styles, mindset stuff. It's quite a mix.
Definitely.
And like you hinted, some of it might feel a bit unconventional. Maybe not what you hear every day.
Yeah, that's fair to say.
But look, our goal here isn't to just nod along or endorse everything. It's more about digging into the ideas themselves.
Right.
Seeing what they are, how they're presented, and maybe how they connect to, personal growth or just navigating life.
Okay, good plan. So let's start with this idea of persona and social masks. The notes basically say these masks can hide who we really are underneath.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They even use that kind of classic magazine look, the I'm too good for you face, as an example.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Makes you wonder, how much of what we put out there is real versus just performance?
Well, and what's interesting about that specific look, the too good for you one, is the idea that even something that looks confident can just be a shield.
Yeah, defense mechanism.
Exactly. And the notes right after mentioning that, they bring up CNF teasing.
Right, CNF teasing. What's the connection there?
Well, without getting lost in the weeds of that specific technique, which seems to be about a sort of playful push-pull dynamic,
Okay.
the core idea seems to be about getting past those surface-level masks, moving beyond the initial, maybe superficial presentation.
So breaking through the facade.
Kind of. It suggests maybe that real connection happens when you get past that stuff.
Interesting. And that ties into beliefs, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
The notes have this equation. External behavior plus the meaning we assign our beliefs.
Yeah, it's pretty simple when you put it like that.
Almost too simple.
Well, maybe. But the power is in that second part, right? The meaning we assign.
How we interpret things.
Exactly. Because the notes argue if a belief isn't serving you, you can change it. You just challenge or shift the meaning you're attaching to events.
Puts you in control, sort of.
That seems to be the idea. You're not just stuck with the beliefs you have.
And then there's this whole list of reframing techniques, like a whole toolbox.
Oh, yeah.
Things like reframing the external behavior itself, or changing how you feel inside about it.
Your internal state.
Or finding a counterexample, like a different way to see the situation entirely.
Right. And there's more, too, like outcome framing. Asking yourself, what happens if I keep thinking like this?
Okay, looking ahead.
Yeah. And almost framing, taking a belief and just blowing it up into a total generalization.
Applying it everywhere.
Kind of. Then there's applying it back to yourself or even to the person you're talking to.
Turning it around.
And chunking down, getting really specific, like how exactly does this belief work? How did I even get here?
Digging into the mechanics of it.
Basically. The point seems to be that our brains take shortcuts, right? And these reframes are ways to consciously, rewire those automatic paths.
Makes sense. Now, one belief perspective that really stood out, the take on fairness.
Yeah. That one's pretty blunt.
It is. Life isn't fair, you won't get a fair anything. That sounds kind of bleak at first.
It does, yeah. A bit pessimistic. But then, almost immediately...
It flips it.
Right. Life's not fair, and that's a good thing. That's where all the power comes from.
Which is quite a twist. How does that work?
Well, the idea seems to be if you accept life isn't automatically fair, you stop, waiting around for someone else to make things right or give you a fair shake.
You take responsibility.
Kind of. You realize your power comes from dealing with that unfairness, from taking action yourself, creating your own opportunities, despite the lack of fairness.
That is a powerful reframe. Okay, so moving on to what the notes call the keys to success.
Right. Two main things there.
Yeah. Number one,
yeah,
a definite major purpose. And number two, constant improvement. Let's start with that purpose one. Why is a definite major purpose so important, according to this?
The idea seems to be it acts like a filter, almost, for your mind.
How so?
It focuses your attention, obviously, but maybe more crucially, it makes you more open to seeing possibilities, new doors, opportunities, stuff you might just ignore otherwise.
Like tuning your brain to a certain frequency.
Yeah, something like that. It gives you direction, guides your thinking.
Okay. And the second key, constant improvement.
Right.
The notes link this to creating your own luck.
Yeah.
They contrast it with just betting on luck, calling that a really bad game.
Yeah, the thinking there seems to be that consistent effort, always trying to get better. It's not just about skill building.
Okay.
It actually increases the odds of good things happening to you. It's like consistent action creates more surface area for luck to stick to.
Huh. Interesting analogy.
So you shift from being passive, just hoping for luck, to actively generating chances.
By constantly doing, learning, growing.
Exactly. You create more opportunities for things to go your way, which to someone else might just look like you got lucky.
Right. There's also this very direct statement in the notes.
Which one?
You are the only one who cares about your success.
Yeah, that one.
And it even suggests others might kind of want you to fail.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're doing better than them.
Mm-hmm. It's a bit cynical, maybe.
The conclusion being, live for you. It's very individualistic.
It is, and it definitely emphasizes, internal motivation, not relying on what others think.
Yeah.
And that observation that maybe not everyone's cheering for you, well, maybe a bit harsh.
Yeah.
It can be a real spur for self-reliance, right? Staying focused on your own path.
True. The notes talk about mastery, calls it the land of the big boys.
Yeah, the language is a bit of its time, perhaps.
A little exclusionary, maybe. But the core idea seems important. Mastering the basics.
Absolutely. The point they're making is, beginners often want the shiny, advanced stuff first. The sexy tricks, as they put it.
Right, jump ahead.
But real skill, real mastery in anything, it comes from deeply understanding and practicing the fundamentals over and over.
Can't build a house on sand.
Pretty much. That applies everywhere, personal development included.
Okay. Next concept. Asserting your reality up front.
Right.
The idea is, by setting your perspective as the main one early on, you kind of take control of the interaction.
Setting the frame.
There's even this really strong quote, "This is my reality here, and you're a guest. If you don't like it here, you can leave."
Wow, yeah, that's direct.
Very direct. Powerful statement about boundaries, right?
Yeah.
Taking charge.
It certainly is. It seems to be about establishing your own rules, your expectations, right from the get-go.
Projecting self-assurance.
Yeah, and not getting easily pulled into someone else's way of seeing things, their agenda. That, quote, really hammers home the importance of having strong boundaries and, crucially, being willing to enforce them.
Right. So, okay, strong foundation, asserting reality. How does that play out? The notes then have this section, beliefs of successful men.
Yes, that list.
Hey, we should be clear, right? These are presented as observations within this material, not necessarily universal truths we're endorsing.
Absolutely crucial point. Let's look at them as perspectives offered in the source, and there are definite themes running through them.
Like what?
Well, a lot center on a strong sense of self-worth, independence, things like not letting others use their looks or sexuality against you.
Okay.
Being unself-conscious, not really caring what others think. Prioritizing yourself, it's a big emphasis on internal validation, not external approval.
Right, not being easily swayed. And I noticed themes around communication and social awareness, too.
Yeah.
Like being good at communicating what you want, understanding the cultural context you're in, and being indifferent to the outcome, not being too attached. Suggests a certain detachment, maybe.
Yeah, detachment and awareness, exactly. And other points touch on emotional control, self-management.
Such as?
Not being needy, staying stable and in control, not spilling your guts emotionally too early.
I'll go back a bit.
It seems so. Plus, seeing yourself as desirable, a catch. Judging people on character, not just looks. It paints this picture of someone self-assured, knows their value, isn't afraid to, assert that value.
Got it. The notes then mention, briefly, the importance of your environment, a reference mastermind group.
Right. Surrounding yourself with the right people.
People who embody traits you admire, positive influences, and it also says, avoid negative stuff like TV news.
Which is pretty standard advice in self-help circles, isn't it?
Yeah, you hear that a lot.
And it makes sense. Who you hang out with, what information you consume, it definitely impacts your mindset, your actions. Seeking out the good, limiting the bad, generally seen as helpful for growth.
Then there's this visualization exercise.
The ideal self thing.
Yeah. Picture your ideal self, how they stand, handle things, and then think backwards. What experiences might have made them that way?
That's a neat way to put it, working backwards. It's not just idle daydreaming, right?
Seems more practical.
Yeah, it's about creating a clear picture of who you want to be and then thinking about the journey, the experiences needed to get there. can be clarifying, motivating.
Okay. Then self-talk comes up.
Important topic.
The advice is basically don't beat yourself up internally. Unless you really messed up, obviously. Be kind to yourself.
Self-compassion. It's crucial. That internal voice can lift you up or drag you down.
For sure. And right after that, this very bold statement, scarcity is a myth.
Yeah, all caps. What do you think that's getting at?
Well, tying it together, maybe it means there are always more options, more opportunities.
Than we usually think.
Right. And getting fixated on just one thing, one person, one outcome that limits you, it creates a false sense of scarcity.
That makes sense. An abundance mindset versus a scarcity mindset.
Exactly. Okay, so then we get into creating desire and avoiding something called leaning.
Right, psychological leaning.
The notes list ways to make someone want something. Familiar stuff, really. Scarcity, linking it to their other desires, benefits, effort, social proof, even a challenge.
Standard persuasion tactics. Yeah, you see those in marketing, negotiation, a lot of places.
But what about this psychological leaning?
It's presented as a sign of insecurity, like an internal feeling of wanting something or someone too much. Overinvestment.
Okay, and the advice?
Is to consciously pull back if the other person pulls back. Don't chase.
Yeah.
It ties into that whole theme of not appearing needy or overly invested.
Maintaining balance, or maybe the upper hand?
Something like that seems to be the implication.
Which leads perfectly to this totally into you thought experiment. So it's quite interesting.
It is, yeah. A bit of a mental jujitsu move.
It asks, how would you act if you knew someone was totally crazy about you, but you were kind of lukewarm, maybe willing to give them a shot, but reluctantly? What would you naturally do?
It's a great way to flip the script, right? To think about how confidence, feeling like you're the one choosing, changes behavior.
So what kind of behaviors does it suggest would emerge?
Things like you'd stop trying so hard to impress them.
Obviously.
You'd make it clear you're the selector, the one deciding. You'd be pickier, maybe tease them playfully about their chances.
Okay.
You'd definitely keep living your own life, not drop everything for them. It's all about embodying that abundance, that self-assurance.
It also mentions paying close attention to their body language.
Right. Reading.
Being a high novelty seeker, someone looking for new experiences.
Keeps things interesting.
Staying calm, composed, and not taking any tests they might throw you too seriously.
Yeah, not getting easily rattled. It's projecting this image of detached confidence, maybe? Someone comfortable with options?
It's a useful mental model, perhaps, for checking your own behavior if you feel insecure.
Definitely. A way to shift towards a more empowered stance.
Okay, next up, fear of rejection.
Big one.
The notes list 4 main fears in approach situations. Embarrassment. Actual rejection. Verbal confrontation.
Okay.
And even physical violence.
Wow. Covers the bases. So how do they suggest dealing with these?
By imagining the absolute worst case scenario for each one.
I'm not doing that.
And then reframing it, making it seem less scary, or even finding a way to laugh at it.
Cognitive reframing.
Yeah.
Classic technique for anxiety. Face the fear mentally.
Exactly. Realize it might not be as catastrophic as you imagine, or find humor in the potential awkwardness. Lessens its power over you.
Makes you more willing to take the risk.
Right. And there's some examples given for responding to rudeness or unwanted attention. Pretty assertive stuff. The specific words might not be for everyone, but the underlying message is clear. Stand up for yourself.
Don't tolerate disrespect. That's the core principle. Assertiveness, communicating boundaries clearly, respectfully, that's valuable anywhere.
Absolutely. Then there's this quite long list of personality types.
Oh, that list, yeah.
Labels like guy chicks, dingbats, teeny bopper, party girl, romantic, controller. It goes on.
It really does. It's quite something.
It's a definite attempt to categorize people.
It is. And again, super important to remember, these are categories within this specific source.
Right. Not gospel truth.
Definitely not. Probably used as mental shortcuts by the author, maybe to understand perceived patterns. But people are way more complex than these labels. We shouldn't take them too literally.
Good caveat. Okay, mindset again. The notes push for a success-oriented mindset, even when things go wrong.
Yeah.
Like, this is the time when success is right around the corner, and whatever happens, I will get it.
That's Intensely optimistic,
They-
resilient.
Very. It's about maintaining that positive outlook, that belief in yourself, even when you hit roadblocks.
Seeing problems as temporary, not dead ends.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Then there's this rather stark rule prevented.
Which is?
If a woman is speaking, she's testing you.
Ah, okay. So, everything's a test.
Seems to be the implication. The advice is to view any statement or request as a test and respond based on your values, your criteria, not just hers.
That could certainly create some interesting conversational dynamics, a very specific filter to put on interactions.
Definitely. The idea seems to be maintain your own frame, don't just react or try to please, respond authentically to your own standards.
Asserting independence again.
Seems like it. The notes then warn against operating from scarcity.
Right, the feeling of, I have to get this particular girl.
Yeah. It's framed as giving away your power, weakening your position.
Ties back to scarcity as a myth, doesn't it? Neediness, desperation, often seen negatively. An abundance mindset, believing you have options, projects more confidence, makes you more attractive, potentially.
Okay. Then some specific strategies for connection are mentioned.
Like what?
Like the old, are you single because I have a friend line.
Ah, the indirect approach.
Or dropping hints in conversation to a friend as they walk past the person you're interested in.
Yeah, subtle ways to test the waters, maybe.
Yeah.
Create an opening without being too full on. The single friend line kind of deflects pressure. The hints are even more subtle.
There's also a weeding out strategy.
Weeding out.
Suggesting a really short initial meeting, like tea for half an hour.
Okay, why?
To quickly see if there's a spark, a connection. And maybe also to signal that you're busy, selective about your time.
Efficient. Aligns with that theme of valuing yourself, not over-investing up front if it's not a fit.
Preparation is also stressed. Mentally rehearsing conversations. Your body language, your internal state, how you'll handle objections.
Standard confidence-building stuff, right?
Yeah.
Mental practice helps you feel more prepared, less anxious. Visualizing success, planning responses. It boosts confidence.
Yeah. Then some pretty unconventional opening lines are offered.
Oh, example.
Like, I'm sure that every drunk dumbass and his 9 friends have been drooling and spilling their beer on you all night, but you look interesting to me.
Wow, okay. That's
Yeah.
memorable.
Definitely attention grabbing. Designed to be different, use humor, maybe a bit provocative to spark interest.
And the notes also suggest adopting an attitude like they were trying to pick you up.
Right. Flipping the script again.
Right.
Reinforces that self-assured chooser vibe.
It also mentions opening with an interesting compliment or playful teasing.
Yeah, like, what are you, a statue model? Or teasing about a big purse or tall shoes.
Starting things off light, engaging. Playful teasing shows confidence, humor. A unique compliment is flattering, memorable. Key is probably making it feel genuine, not forced or mean.
Right. Now, keeping engagement.
Yeah.
The notes suggest looking around, seeming a bit preoccupied at first.
Ah, the playing it cool idea again.
Ties back to the totally into you thought experiment, maintaining that slightly detached air.
Yeah, not appearing too eager, desperate for attention, creates intrigue, maybe makes you seem more desirable because you're not trying so hard.
There's also advice on not answering questions directly,
Yeah.
giving unexpected answers.
Oh.
The example is someone asks, what do you do? And you say, ass model or pornographer.
Okay. That would certainly get a reaction, break the pattern.
Definitely memorable.
Yeah.
Maybe confusing, but shakes up the usual small talk.
For sure. But you'd really need to read the room with that style, wouldn't you? Might not land well everywhere.
Good point. The notes also advise ending conversations early.
Don't overstay your welcome.
Right. Get contact info efficiently. There are examples of funny, assertive closing lines, questions, even mentions role-playing as a nurse in a bar.
Okay. Keeping it memorable, staying in control, ending early leaves a good impression. Maybe leaves them wanting more. The humor and assertiveness reinforce that confident persona.
There's even a physical approach described, the exaggerated double take when you walk past a mirror or window.
Like you're checking yourself out dramatically.
Yeah, sounds quirky. Attention grabbing, maybe humorous, breaks the ice.
A visual gag to start things off.
Then for actually getting together,
Yeah.
planning something. The advice is, don't make it a huge deal. Suggest, let's get together, instead of, like, can I buy you dinner?
More casual.
And suggest a specific baby short time frame, drinks for an hour Tuesday.
Sets a relaxed tone, no pressure. And the time constraint communicates you value your time, sets expectations, respects everyone's time.
Okay, then things get into creating. Well, the notes use the word obsession. and unpredictability.
Ah, the attraction triggers section.
Suggests things like intermittent reward, not always being available or responsive.
Right, the psychological principle. Unpredictable rewards can be more addictive.
Having engaging, animated body language. Knowing what you want before you ask.
Decisiveness, energy, generally attractive.
And leaving someone alone sometimes. Giving them space.
Ties back to avoiding that leaning, right? Maintaining independence, not being clingy.
Then there's this interesting, maybe controversial point.
Go on.
That just following normal social politeness can sometimes hurt attraction.
Challenging norms.
And the advice to not give direct answers unless it's a clear no. Focus on fun, humor, but not being mean.
So being a bit unpredictable, playful, maybe evasive, can be more engaging than just being straightforwardly nice.
That seems to be the idea. Create intrigue, but yeah, the caveat about not being mean is important. Balancing playfulness with respect.
Tricky line to walk.
Definitely. Examples are given for unexpected replies if someone makes a direct advance on you. Emphasizes sending mixed signals, being unpredictable.
Keeping them guessing. Avoid being easily figured out.
And examples of setting boundaries but communicating them calmly.
Which is crucial regardless. Clear, calm boundaries are healthy.
Then it lists 3 relationship rules. Must be fun for me. Honesty.
Okay. Right.
And respect for me, my time, my property.
Okay. Those sound pretty solid, actually.
Yeah. Prioritize your well-being, be honest, demand respect. Seems like a good foundation.
For any relationship, really. And the advice is, don't settle, have high standards.
Right. Then we jump to online interactions.
Right.
And something called the wuss cure. Online, it suggests using playful, kind of dominant language. Even calling someone brat playfully. Assertive communication tactics.
Projecting confidence digitally. Establishing a specific dynamic, it seems.
And the wuss cure. What's that?
Seems to be for when you feel you're getting too invested, too needy in a relationship.
Ah, the leaning again.
Exactly. The cure involves creating distance, focusing back on yourself, your own life, hobbies, friends, maybe even seeing other people.
Reasserting independence, avoiding neediness.
That's the core theme again.
Okay. Handling objections. Being assertive.
Yeah.
Example, if someone tries to change plans you made, how to respond. Or how to react if someone calls you a gentleman in a way that feels dismissive.
Standing your ground. Defining things on your terms, not being easily pushed around by labels or suggestions. Assertiveness again.
Yeah, okay, nearly there. Power dynamics and mindset.
Final stretch.
Emphasizes that be indifferent to someone else's attempts to impress you. That's a source of power.
Internal validation over external. Doesn't matter if they're trying hard if you're not impressed.
Right. Briefly mentions a dominant belief system, like the strength of your own convictions.
Your self-assurance influences the interaction.
And stresses. Don't have relationship expectations too early. Focus on just having a good time initially.
Reduces pressure, lets things develop more naturally, perhaps. Avoids premature intensity.
The advice continues. Wait a bit before calling back. Limit contact frequency. Avoid super deep conversations right at the start.
Pacing the interaction. Maintaining some distance.
And if someone brings drama, assume they enjoy drama, and don't become their main emotional dump.
Protecting your own energy, not getting sucked into unhealthy patterns, especially early on. Prioritizing your well-being.
The notes circle back to high standards making you more attractive. Subservience is unattractive, explains the wanting it tax.
Oh, what's that?
The idea that seeming too eager, wanting it too much, actually lowers your perceived value. Like paying a tax for being too keen.
Okay. Reinforces the self-respect theme.
Exactly. Take responsibility for your behavior. And it ends this section with, be the man always. It sure beats the alternative. Again, very assertive language.
Yeah, very direct framing there.
Final points are about kissing and desire. Advise acting on positive emotional moments, like right after laughter, to initiate physical intimacy.
Using a high point as a natural bridge.
And importantly, don't apologize for your desires. Own what you want.
Reflect self-acceptance, confidence, not being ashamed of your intentions.
And the very last point ties it all together. Being willing to walk away is a huge source of power.
Absolutely. Knowing you can leave if things aren't right, that signals self-worth. You're not dependent on this specific interaction or person. That's powerful.
Wow. Okay. That was definitely a deep dive, a really wide range of stuff from those David DeAngelo notes.
It really was.
We went through, let's see, social masks, belief reframing, communication strategies, mindset attraction tactics.
Yeah.
A lot.
Yeah, how we present ourselves, the beliefs shaping our reality, specific social techniques, a particular approach to success. It's all in there, based on this source.
And like we said at the start, the goal wasn't just to agree or disagree.
No.
It was to really unpack the ideas presented in these notes.
Mm-hmm.
Think about how they might connect or not to personal development, how we interact.
Exactly. Exploring the perspectives offered. So maybe for everyone listening, the takeaway thought is this.
Yeah.
Consider which of these concepts about how you present yourself, your beliefs, how you interact, which ones sparked something in you, negatively or positively.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe think about what might happen if you consciously experimented with just one of these ideas. How could it shift your own experience, your understanding of social dynamics, your sense of, personal agency?
And stepping back even further.
Yeah.
What does this whole collection of ideas taken together suggest about the underlying assumptions people might operate from? The strategies they use, consciously or not, in their interactions or when they're trying to achieve their goals?
Definitely something to mull over. A lot to think about there.